The story begins somewhere along this random city. One man was in a rush. It seemed like it was running away from something. He stopped as soon as he saw this building. This one then hurriedly opened the door. The place was a long buying road. Room number 387. He was still panting as he closed the door. The man tried to catch his breath. His face was still full of uneasiness, and while he was regaining his stamina, something dropped onto his shoulder. He looked at the source of this liquid and had this expression. A huge monster was now looming over him. This was then followed up by a loud scream. But no one seemed to notice it. The next day, at Southeast University, one man was being scolded right now. A random inspection has been held inside this dormitory, and the inspector found X-rated magazines in one of the lockers. The inspector thought that Zhang Heng was the culprit. This one right here was also our main protagonist. We then found out that our MC has always been fond of the things that involved superstitions and the like. His parents were also known as professors that were now based overseas. They specialized in researching different religions. That's why this inspector was really disappointed seeing these magazines inside Zhang Heng's locker. As a punishment, the inspector, who was also their dorm manager, decided to confiscate these things. But Zhang Heng seemed to really not care at all. The dorm manager also told our MC that he will now be reported to the higher-ups so he could get some disciplinary actions. This statement made Zhang Heng panicked. He told the inspector that he will just call someone first. Our MC then typed and called the number of the person named Jiangyang. Zhang Heng really didn't want to call this person, but he really didn't have a choice right now. Turns out, the X-rated magazines were Jiangyang's. But our MC was now in trouble because his roommate placed these things inside his locker. Jiangyang started to apologize towards Heng. But there's nothing he could do right now. Our MC then asked his roommate how he was able to open his locker. Jiangyang then revealed that he jammed the keyhole with a gum. Heng can't believe that his roommate did that. He was now more furious about it. And while he was scolding Jiangyang, the dorm manager was busy looking at the magazines. Jiangyang also asked our MC to not report him about it. He told Heng that he already received a disciplinary action once and he would be kicked out if he gets one more. And to make up for this favor, Jiangyang told our MC that he will invite him on a camping trip he had planned this Labor Day. He even enticed Heng with the ladies that he will bring along. Our MC was really not interested in these kinds of things, so he decided to hang up the call. And as soon as he was finished with the call, the inspector asked him again if Heng would like to explain himself. This guy was just too nice. He then took the blame. After that, Jiangyang kept on bugging him on coming along to the camping trip. This was really a great time to relax, but these kinds of trips make our MC anxious. In other words, his life was just too plain and boring. Heng sighed about it. He then thought that his personality might have been affected by his interest in myths and legends. These kinds of stories were just too thrilling to read. But they failed to happen in reality. Our MC had to go to a place when he was feeling like this. And that's where he was headed today. Heng liked to spend his time in the library. He even has this ritual of bringing some dice to decide the book he will read for that day. He rolled the dice and these numbers came up. It meant 5th row, 1st shelf, 11th book. This guy then started to find the book. Heng found it, but another person was about to grab it. He then asked this lady if she was about to read this book. The one he got was about feminine hygiene care. And it weirded this lady out. She immediately ran away because she thought that Heng was creepy. Nonetheless, our MC ignored this scene and read the book in peace. He just wants to be distracted from the outside world for a few hours. Time went by peacefully until this happened. Heng noticed this man that was under his table. He also scolded this one for eating chips inside the library. This guy then came out and told Heng that he had been waiting for him. Turns out, this was Jiangyang. And he personally went to the library because our MC was not answering his messages. In Heng's perspective, Jiangyang was really not a bad guy. But somehow, this guy still manages to give him headaches. Our MC then asked Zhang Heng if he really went in here just to ask him about the camping trip. This guy said yes. He knew that Heng would not respond to any of his messages. Zhang Heng also expressed his concern about his friend's life. He had been spending too much time alone, but Heng didn't believe his friend. He knew something was up, so he asked Zhang Heng to be more direct. This one then revealed that he needed our MC to act as a wingman tonight. He was planning to court a girl. Heng told him no, and Zhang Heng had this expression. This one started to eat the chips loudly inside the library. The people who were reading near them started to get annoyed. Heng also can't stand this scene. Eventually, he agreed on what his friend wanted. He will now be his wingman later tonight. Zhang Heng thanked our MC and told him the details of the place and time of the date. This guy accepted that he was defeated this time. Later that night, our MC was now waiting outside the restaurant that Zhang Heng told him. He also brought a book along with him. Zhang Heng then arrived and saw Heng. He told him that this was really not the time to read. He then offered our MC a gum to freshen up his breath. Heng noticed that Zhang Heng's hands were shaking. He asked if his friend was fine, but his question was ignored. Zhang Heng told Heng that he should just go and enter the room. These two peeked inside this room, and it revealed this lively atmosphere. There were a lot of guys and ladies. Booze and other food were also present. Zhang Heng then pointed out this lady to Heng. He asked our MC if she was his type. These two then approached her. Zhang Heng apologized for being late. This lady then noticed that Zhang Heng was with another friend. Our MC kept himself occupied while the introductions were being held. A few seconds later, something seemed not right about Zhang Heng. He told Heng that his stomach hurts and it may be because of the chips he ate. This guy then rushed towards the restroom. In the end, Heng and this lady were left in an awkward silence. Our MC just kept on reading his book. This one tried to start a conversation with Heng, but her attempt got some cold replies. Our MC was maintaining this poker face, but then, this one made herself closer to Heng. She told him that she often sees him inside the library. She revealed that she was going to the library in hopes that she sees Heng. This one also told our MC that she was also into mythology stuff. Heng was now panicking. He was wondering what this lady was trying to do. He looked at her and thought that maybe she has some feelings for him, but her attempts were still being denied. Heng thought that he should not mess with Zhang Heng's lady. To clear the atmosphere, our MC grabbed this bottle of vodka. He thought that by doing this lady would be turned off. Heng then finished the whole bottle after a few seconds. He also checked his watch. His friend was really taking his time in the restroom. This was also the time when he noticed something weird about his watch. It was not moving at all. Our MC thought that he may just be hallucinating because of the alcohol he drank. His head also started to hurt. Heng got up and was planning on going back to the dorm. The lady tried to assist him and checked if he was feeling sick. But at that moment, Zhang Heng stepped on the bottle of vodka. This caused him and this lady to lose their balance. These two were about to fall to each other. At that same time, Zhang Heng was back. He saw what happened. This one was shocking as the one he liked was now on top of Heng. Our MC also saw him. He thought that he was really in trouble. He closed his eyes and braced for the impact. But then, nothing happened. Heng then checked his surroundings. Things were almost in black and white. His surroundings also stopped moving. Even the water that was about to fall down didn't move. This guy then tried to check his friend. Heng was screaming at the top of his lungs, but nothing happened. His friend was still frozen. Heng chose to heat his friend. This move confirmed that he was not dreaming because it hurt him. Heng knew that the whole world stopped. He checked the room again and saw something weird. An old man that was sitting on the couch still has the same normal colors around him. This one was even smiling and using his phone. Zhang Heng approached this one and tried checking if this old man could also move, but it didn't respond. He then checked the phone of this old man. The phone's camera was open and it looked like they were taking a selfie. The old man then suddenly moved and spoke. This shocked Heng. He then pressed the button and took a photo of the scene. Heng moved backwards as soon as he realized what happened. Meanwhile, the old man kept on laughing. He even showed the photo of Heng to him. Our MC slowly stood up and asked the identity of this guy. The old man apologized for the late introduction. He then told Zhang Heng that he was a god of time, and his name was Kronos. To prove this, he told Heng to check his watch. Kronos revealed that this was not an illusion. The dials really have doubled. Our MC was quick to catch up. He even noticed the extra hours that were added to his watch. Kronos then told him that he just gave Heng an extra 24 hours to spend every day. Heng was now in awe. He thought that this goofy old man was really the god of time, but something was not right. Our MC asked why this god gave him this kind of present. They were not even related. Kronos then showed him something on his phone. Heng couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was a photo of Kronos together with his parents. This old man then revealed that he was acquainted with them. They also entrusted Kronos to take care of Heng. Things would be difficult to explain, but Kronos still tried. But before he could start telling the story, our MC left the room. This one was excited and exclaimed that he wanted to see the whole world. Kronos went after him. He thought that this kid really had accepted this setup quickly. He also noticed that Heng's eyes were shining. He thought that this was kinda expected from the kid that was raised by those two amazing parents. Outside the building, things were also in black and white. Heng was really having fun right now. He thought this could only happen in legends. He kept running around the city. He was also able to see different kinds of things. That meant that what he was experiencing was true. His obsession towards mythology didn't come to waste. Zhang Heng thought that his boring days were now over. These two then kept on messing out and doing all the things they wanted. This was only possible because the time really stopped. Our MC really enjoyed it the whole time. Kronos was also happy seeing this kind of reaction from the kid. Heng then stood at the top of this truck and screamed that he was really not a freak. This kind of vibe refreshed Heng. Kronos then told him that more exciting stuff will happen tomorrow. Heng asked what it was about, but his question was left unanswered. Kronos told him that they should just talk tomorrow. The god of time then told our MC where and when they will meet up again. Before this old man disappeared, Heng called his name. He then sincerely thanked Kronos for his gift. This old man kept silent, and after a few seconds, he vanished. Our MC was then left alone. The watch on his wrist then made a ticking sound. The dials were back at the start of the day. In a split second, everything was back to normal. This guy panicked as he found out that things would be back as soon as his extra 24 hours were gone. And right now, he was in trouble because people all saw him at the top of this vehicle's roof. After that, our MC was back at his dorm again. He thought that he would be spending the night alone as usual, but this was also the perfect time to give his body the rest it really needed. This one then comfortably went to his bed. He was now wondering what kind of exciting things awaited him. Meanwhile, in this dark part of the city, Kronos was now at the same building where the guy at the start of this story vanished. He bit his finger and dropped some blood on the floor. After a few seconds, the monster with a lot of eyes appeared. It attempted to bite the god of time, but it clearly failed to do so. Kronos then told this creature that he was not some kind of old and frail human that this thing could swallow up. He also revealed that he has some kind of gift towards this creature. A new prey that he prepared to sate its appetite will be given tomorrow. At the same time, a door was now being smashed loudly. A child was then shown. This one was hiding himself. The child was the younger version of our MC. He was now being asked to come out from this room, and since the door was constantly being smashed by someone outside, a small gap between it appeared. A white weird-looking creature then peeked. It was asking Heng to come and play. Our MC then woke up from this nightmare. He was sweating all over the place. He tried to catch his breath while realizing that it was just a dream. Heng then checked his phone and he saw that it was already 3:05. He heads down to check if Zhang Yang has already come back, but all he saw was a bunch of food takeouts. Zhang Yang then revealed himself. He told our MC that it was for him. This was his way of apologizing for what happened last night. Heng was about to not accept this offer, but then he noticed something. A strike mark was still on his dorm mate's face. Luckily, Zhang Yang assumed that he got it because he was too drunk last night. This guy also proceeds to offer the food again. He was doing this peace offering because he wanted Zhang Heng to accompany him again tonight. He really needed him to be his wingman, but our MC was already done with these setups. He didn't accept it. Heng was about to leave, but his book was missing. Turns out, Zhang Yang already got it. Our MC turned his head around and this one showed it to him. He has no plan of returning the book unless Heng agrees to him. This guy was left with no choice once again. He also had no time to deal with Zhang Yang's stubborn attitude, so he agreed. This guy then exited the room. He was not even interested in eating, but something stopped him. A gum was stuck again on their room's knob. Our MC already knew why this thing was attached to the door. Zhang Yang then tried apologizing, but this ticked off Heng. He shouted towards his friend. He told Zhang Yang that he was just making his life harder. All the bad things that were happening to him were all caused by him. This guy kept silent as he was hearing all the problems he gave to Heng. He was also wondering why his friend was too agitated now. Our MC told him that all he needed to do was knock on the door. Zhang Yang then revealed that he did just that. The problem was Zhang Heng was not waking up. Their neighbors also got disturbed from his knocks. Heng calmed down as he heard his explanation. He knew that Zhang Yang may have been telling the truth. He then remembered the nightmare he had. Someone was really banging the door. Our MC then opted to just grab the book. He told Zhang Yang that he had scolded him enough. Our MC then left the dormitory. This guy immediately went outside. He rushed as he knew that he had a promise to keep with Kronos. This old man didn't like that this kid was late. He thought that Heng was not qualified. Our MC then told him that he needed to do some matters first. And while he was talking with Kronos, Heng received some messages from Zhang Yang. He then ignored this one as he was already looking forward to what Kronos had installed for him. He even told the old man that they should now start. Kronos smiled and pointed a small paper box in front of them. He told Heng that he just needs to crush it flat. This task disappointed Zhang Heng as he was expecting much more exciting things. But this guy still approached the box. He was told to crush it with all his might. His foot then made contact with the paper box. It was then followed by electrifying pain. Zhang Heng fell on the ground while asking the god of time what's inside the paper box. Our MC checked his foot and saw a nail underneath. It pierced right through. Heng got annoyed and asked Kronos if this was just a kind of prank. This old man then revealed that he needed this small injury so Heng could walk down another path. This kid was not convinced. He was about to approach Kronos to ask what was really happening, but this one just smiled. Kronos even told our MC that he was relieved. Zhang Heng then froze as he felt something below his feet. Luckily, our MC was quick enough to react. He was able to dodge this one. This was the first time he saw this creature. Heng asked Kronos what was that thing. The old man disclosed that this was the thrill the young one had been seeking. He told Heng that they will now play a game. The rule was really simple. He just needed to survive. Our MC didn't have time to ask for more details. He already started to run. The creature went after him. The cars that were on their way were sent flying. Not far from them, our MC saw a bunch of bystanders. He thought that he was now safe as he was not alone anymore. He shouted towards the people and asked them to call for the police. However, this did not deter the monster from continuing its attack on him. Our MC fell on the ground again. This was also the time when he noticed that the people around him were frozen in time. He was now spending the extra 24 hours that Kronos gave to him. Our MC ran and passed through a couple of people. He noticed a familiar feeling while doing this thing over again. He then saw Kronos riding this motorcycle. This old man even took a picture of him. Kronos also revealed that the monster would only focus on Heng because of the blood that kept on dropping from him. He also told Heng that the thing about him being entrusted to Kronos was also a lie. The only thing that was true was this old man was really acquainted with them. Kronos was about to give our MC some hints about how to defeat this creature, but he got kicked. The old man then fell on the ground. Heng used this opportunity to steal the motorcycle and used it to escape. Kronos got delighted because this kid has this kind of strategy. Meanwhile, the creature was still chasing him. He thought that he really can't shake this one off. Heng then saw a building. He thought that he should try and lure this creature there. Our MC abandoned the motorcycle and went inside this building. He was able to enter just before the monster reached him. This one then suddenly stopped and just stared at our MC. Heng then locked the door of this building. This creature attempted to enter, but it was blocked. Heng was now almost out of his breath. He remembered the same feeling he got from his nightmare. Something forced him to go inside and was waiting for him to come out. At that time, he had no plans of getting out. He thought that this place was the safest. Our MC held onto this idea even right now. The creature also stopped moving. He sighed in relief as he knew that he was now safe. All he needed to do was to wait for the extra time to run out. 23 more hours. A few moments later, outside the building, Kronos has already caught up. He saw that the motorcycle was thrown outside. He then assumed that Heng tried to hide himself inside. Little did he know that creature can take over anything. Our MC was now in a whole lot of trouble. Unreals could even swallow a building. Meanwhile, Heng was about to get some books he could read, but he noticed something above him. The ceiling was already gone. A green slimy liquid then fell from above. This one also melted the floor as soon as it made contact. Zhang Heng then noticed that whatever this thing was, it had already surrounded him. Kronos was just outside. He wondered how long this kid could endure this test. Our MC started to run around the building, but wherever he went, it was already blocked by this thing. Heng then saw the fire exit door. This guy immediately ran towards it. He bumped onto the door using all of his force, but it was no use. This passage was locked. Zhang Heng then grabbed the fire extinguisher he saw lying around. He used this item to try and open the door. He was now running out of time. The flesh of the creature was already near him. Zhang Heng then gave up. He thought that he really can't open this door. But this was just a good call because a bunch of flesh then came out from it. Our MC was now running again. He tried to block the flesh using the huge shelves of this library. He pushed these things down. Heng then noticed something. This flesh takes a longer time when it attempts to corrode more objects. An idea then came into his mind. Meanwhile, Kronos was just chilling outside. He was even playing a game on his phone. He stopped for a second and wondered how the kid was doing. He thought that it would really be a pity if Zhang Heng would die right away. This one thought that he couldn't let Heng die easily. He then started to cheer for him. Back to our MC, he was now on the top of the shelves. He used these things to delay the flesh from reaching him. Zhang Heng checked the things he got. All he has now was the book he brought a while ago. He also checked his watch. He thought that it's been 40 hours since he last ate. The only thing he could eat right now was the gum he got from Zhang Yang. He thought that he might even die from hunger before the monster could eat him. Our MC closed his eyes and wondered if this was really his fate. He remembered the time when he was young. Heng was constantly being bullied by the other kids. These ones thought that Heng was weird because he liked mythology. But this changed as someone reached out to him. A mysterious voice told him that the bullies were all gone. This was the first time he remembered this thing. His thoughts were then cut off as our MC's phone rang. He thought that everything was back to normal, but that was not the case. The phone only notified him about its low battery. Heng was really disappointed upon finding this out. He then checked the messages he got a while ago. Our MC saw this message. Apparently, the lady from last night wanted to meet him. Zhang Heng revealed that he acted as their wingman. That lady really liked Heng. His friend knew that Zhang Heng would not agree if he would tell him the truth. That's why he created a fake scenario. This also explained this lady's weird actions towards our MC. Along with the messages of Zhang Heng, he told Heng that he was just looking out for him. This guy was now teary-eyed as he realized his friend's real motive. He then remembered that certain memory when he was still young. The person who knocked and told him that the bullies were gone was his only friend. This guy was the only one who tried to befriend him, and it was none other than Zhang Heng. This boy still had this bright smile. He was also the one that encouraged our MC to go out and enjoy the things outdoors. Tears then started falling from Heng's eyes. He now regretted how he treated his friend a while ago. Our MC then grabbed the piece of gum again. Zhang started to wipe his tears. He pulled himself together and thought that he really wanted to survive this game. Our MC checked his surroundings. He then saw one door that could lead him outside. That door was his only chance of surviving this game. He then jumped around the shelves. Heng also kicked on these things. One of the shelves fell and it created a domino effect. He used these fallen books and items as his platform to avoid the monster. Right now, the only thing he needed to do was to move onwards. Our MC kept the same motivation inside his mind while running towards the exit. He knew he could do it. He wanted to have the courage to do it. The only thing that hindered him was his worries. But at the end of the passage, a light shined upon him. Kronos, on the other hand, was still waiting for Heng. He got bored because nothing was happening. This old man then checked the building. He was now concerned about the kid dying. A silent moment then came to him. The god of time has decided to enter the building himself. He also noticed that all the things inside were now gone. But then, someone rushed towards him. It was Zhang Heng. And our MC was about to smash the fire extinguisher. This guy thought that he should just sacrifice Kronos and let him be eaten by the monster. But before he could reach this old man, he let out a powerful force. Heng was then sent flying backwards. This old man felt offended because a human really tried to kill a god using a fire extinguisher. Our MC was shocked by what he saw next. Kronos showed him a little bit of his power. This god asked Heng if he had some kind of death wish. This guy braced himself on what was gonna happen next. He knew that he had no way of winning against a god. But then, Kronos just smiled and revealed that our MC passed the test. An awkward silence then filled the room. Heng was now confused on what's really happening. A moment ago, he was about to be killed. His confusion was interrupted as the monster appeared again. Kronos also forgot about this monster. He then decided that this thing was now useless. The god of time used a spell to eliminate this one, and slowly, the monster turned into ashes. He then explained that Kronos only uses that creature to test his representatives. This guy then questioned everything that Kronos had said about the test, representatives, and this mysterious gift that he gave to him. Kronos really hated explaining, but he had no other choice. He then unveiled that while humans often wage wars driven by personal interests, gods are locked in a struggle for control over the world. They employ various types of games to determine the victor. This is why gods must meticulously select their representatives. This answer only made our MC furious. Kronos was about to make him his representative and it nearly killed him. The god of time also revealed that he just lost his previous representative, so he needed to find a new one. He also candidly revealed the truth to Zhang Heng. He explained that at times, these games could potentially endanger their lives as well. Kronos then told our MC not to worry too much. He knew that Heng was much stronger than anyone because he managed to survive against that monster. The old man also claimed that this was Heng's chance to escape the boring world. These games were filled with uncertainty and excitement. With that, this old man formally asked our MC to become his representative. He also enticed Heng that he could receive much more amazing rewards if he wins some games. This guy then smiled and accepted the proposal. However, in a sudden turn of events, a punch struck the old man, and because he was caught off guard, Kronos fell on the ground. This deity was now confused. Heng has just accepted his offer, but this kid still hit Kronos in the face. Our MC then revealed that this was just his way of expressing his gratitude towards him. This also served as his token for their partnership. Kronos then tried to confirm if Heng was really serious about accepting this duty, but this guy didn't answer him. He just gave the old man a thumbs up. In the back of Heng's mind, he needed to leave now as he had something more important to do. This was about the date that his friend had set up. Our MC ran towards the meeting place. He checked the time and it was already past midnight. This guy was now concerned because the lady might have left, but someone then approached our MC. The date went really well. Heng and the lady had just enough time to talk about anything. This guy was also looking forward to meeting her again in the future. After that, Heng left the cafe. Before he got out, he turned his head around and thanked someone. This gratitude was for Zhang Heng. This one even made sure that all things would end up smoothly. His actions also resulted in our MC agreeing to go on the camping trip. A few days after the first test, Kronos and Heng rode a motorcycle. They headed towards this bar. Our MC thought that they would have fun together, but the old man left him alone. Heng has already expected this thing to happen, and since he had no other choice, he decided to continue. He then opened the door of the bar. He was shocked by what he saw. Almost all of the customers inside have this weird glitch effect on them. He knew that these were all just 3D avatars. Players usually use this to protect their true identities. Heng then approached this lady and introduced himself. He said that he came here to participate in some games. This lady immediately knew that Heng was a newbie. She then congratulated our MC. She revealed that Zhang Heng was about to participate in the greatest game of all time. This guy then asked what this game was all about. The bartender refused to spill any information about it, but the only thing she could tell was this one would bring a major change in his life. She also handed him a drink. Heng got tense as he heard this information. He was now wondering if he was really ready with these games. This lady noticed this and told our MC to just relax and have a little drink first. Heng knew that it was too late to back out now. He then drank the drink to loosen his body a bit. The resolve of Heng was really great. He claimed that he was now prepared, but then his eyes suddenly felt heavier. This one lost his consciousness. He suddenly fell asleep. The bartender then hoped that Heng would enjoy the game. She wished him the best of luck. A system notification then appeared. It confirmed the participation of our MC. The game's main objective was that the player should just survive inside the game for 40 days. 1 hour of the real world equivalents to 20 days inside the game, and after that, Heng really got transported to this deserted island. He woke up from the sound of the ocean waves. Our MC tried shouting to find out if there was anyone there. This guy was now wondering how he got into this situation. All he was expecting was a fun game. With his frustration, Heng shouted out to Kronos that he would make sure to make this old man pay. But this didn't last long as he noticed that he was just wasting his energy shouting. Heng was starting to feel exhausted. He knew that he was all on his own now. This guy then saw a crab that was walking along the shore. His mind immediately imagined this yummy dish that he could eat. In his perspective, the crabs were full of sumptuous feast. Heng jumped out as he could finally eat. He opened his mouth and was really delighted. But then, his bite brought him back to reality. The crab he bit was still alive and raw. Heng started to vomit. He thought that he should start making a fire first. He checked his pockets for the knife and lighter he brought, but they were gone. This one figured out that this game really forces players to do things on their own. Luckily, our MC was smart enough and gathered the basic things he needed. He started with all the dry wood around the area. He tried creating fire, but nothing was happening. Heng knew that maybe his technique was wrong. He then started to create this tool that looked like a bow drill. With this method, creating friction would be more efficient. Our MC was starting to have some hope. He thought that he could really do this now. But hours passed and there was still nothing. Heng didn't give up, and finally, he saw a smoke coming out. With the last reserves of his energy, he channeled his efforts into generating additional friction. As soon as he saw some sparks, our MC placed a pile of leaves. His first project was finally becoming a success. But then, he noticed something. Heng looked around him and saw that the skies were turning dark. This only meant that rain was coming. After a few seconds, the bad weather really struck the island. Heng was now running towards the trees to save his fire. As he was running from the rain, our MC saw a cave nearby. He immediately went inside. Heng was glad because the fire he created still has not died out. But his celebration was changed as he saw a lot of red circles above him. This cave was full of dangerous bats. These creatures were disrupted and they flew around the cave. This left our MC no other choice but to leave the place. He then improvised and used the giant leaves to shelter him for a while. But by doing this, the fire he created was now gone. He can't believe that all of his efforts were wasted. He then blamed his not-so-lucky fate for experiencing this situation. The next day, the sun shined again. Our MC was able to survive his first day on this island. He stood up and started to look for some food. He was really hungry. Heng didn't have a choice but to eat the meat of the seashells. These were just too fishy and viscid. And while he was stopping himself from puking, he heard a voice. Our MC saw that there were some people trying to call for help and reach the shore. These were 3 of them right now. Heng thought that maybe these people were just NPCs inside this game. He prepared himself as he was planning to save them. This guy then started approaching the NPCs. But since he has not eaten a full meal, his strength was still limited. He only managed to save one of them. This NPC asked for some water. Heng then happily offered the only thing he could find: coconut water. The NPC then introduced himself. His name was Ed and he was an explorer. This guy just sipped a bit as drinking a lot of this thing could cause him constipation. Drinking a lot of coconut water could also lead to diarrhea and dehydration. Heng was now panicking because he just ate and drank a lot of them. Ed also told him that Heng should have secured a fire first because it can create a clean and warm drinking water. Our MC thought that he was now done for. He just drank 3 consecutive coconuts and now his stomach was already cramping. But he was now glad that someone could really teach him some basic survival skills. Days then passed and the woods were dry again. Heng can finally create some fire. The sun was also shining brightly today. Our MC was also feeling some stomach pricking today. The intense heat was also too much of a hassle to deal with, but that didn't stop him from doing the things he needed to survive on this island. Heng took a whole day trying to create a fire. His stomach really hindered him for today, and after a few more moments of trying, smoke was slowly emitted. He then gave all of his focus to complete this task. Heng had finally lighted up the wood. Meanwhile, Ed was just there giving some tips on how Heng could really make this into a fire. Our MC was clearly struggling, but he told himself to just endure it for a little longer. As he exerted more force towards the bowstring, the wood broke down. This shattered the hopes of these two. Heng really felt disappointed. He didn't know what to do next. He started to scream at the top of his lungs again. Ed then gave our MC another piece of advice. He said that Heng didn't really need to be too anxious. Emotions could really hinder a lot of things, but this clearly was not the best time for advice. Our MC told this NPC that he needed some time to be alone for now. This guy then just sighed. After a few moments, Heng just took a dump and felt relieved after that. He has been enduring this the whole day. He went to the shore and thought that this mood kinda uplifted him. He knew that he responded to Ed's remarks impulsively. After all, the NPC was right about what he said. Heng thought that he couldn't let things like this forever, as he could really die. And to start things off, he shouted at the top of his lungs again. He was putting all the blame towards Kronos. Meanwhile, this NPC was left alone. He heard some weird sounds and thought that wild animals might be around somewhere. He stood up as he needed to find our MC. He was concerned for his well-being, and that's when he saw Heng still trying to make a fire. But something was different now. Our MC's face was calmer. He was not distracted about anything. Heng managed to light up the wood faster than expected. But even then, he didn't do any unnecessary actions. He maintained his focus, and after a few more seconds, the fire finally emerged. Heng then felt a tap on his shoulder, and it was from Ed. This one really scared him. This guy also realized the importance of keeping his mood and emotion in check when doing something. After that, these two started to cook some crabs. Heng was really delighted because they could now eat warm and cooked meals. A notification then popped out. The system told him that he received an achievement for creating a fire. This was the first time our MC saw this. He also noticed an attributes window. His wilderness survival skill just advanced to level 1. Our MC kept a serious face as he didn't really expect to survive this game this long. His attention was then turned as he saw Ed was struggling. This NPC revealed that the injury he got from the shipwreck was becoming more serious. The infection was spreading. Heng then volunteered to do everything just to save Ed. He considers this NPC as his mentor. Ed thanked our MC for this gesture. He then shared some information about a medicinal plant that can disinfect and heal wounds. That plant was his only way to live. Otherwise, Ed might only last for another month. Days have passed as they are still trying to find this plant. It has been 21 days now. During these times, Ed taught our MC how to create basic survival tools. Heng also searched the forest for the plants every day, but each time, he came back empty-handed. And the condition of this NPC was getting worse. This guy still didn't give up. Right now, he was about to attempt to catch some fish. Heng was able to calm his thoughts and heighten his instincts. This resulted in him catching this one. Our MC celebrated this feat. He was really happy. He immediately went back to the cave and looked for Ed. He bragged about the delicious food he got. Heng then gave this one to Ed as he could catch another one for himself later. Ed's health has really deteriorated, but he still thanked Zhang Heng. The praise he got made him feel good about himself, but Ed stopped him from being full of himself. He told our MC that he still needs to conquer the center of this island if he really wants to improve himself. He can't be content living along the shore. This remark then made the smile of Heng stiff. He then apologized for acting like that. He also felt the guilt of still not being able to find the plant that his mentor needed, but Ed told him that it was fine. Catching a fish was still a great achievement. This also meant that the basic tips that Ed gave him didn't go wasted. Heng was about to head on his way again to catch another fish, but before going out, he asked Ed something. Our MC then noticed that his mentor didn't respond. That's when he saw that Ed was already gone. Heng immediately went to check on him, but Ed was not moving at all. This guy started to cry. He claimed that he still has a lot of fish to catch for him. Our MC's morning was then interrupted by this bright light. It was a notification coming from the system. It informed our MC that a major error occurred with the time frame. Heng found out that instead of just surviving 40 days, the mission was now revised to 520 days. He sat down beside his mentor as he figured out what really happened. The extra 24 hours that Kronos gave to him proved to be more of a disadvantage. Each hour is equivalent to 20 days, so this one gave him another 480 days. Our MC was slowly losing hope on surviving this one, but then he heard the voice of Ed. This one gave him one last piece of advice and motivation. Ed told him that each adversities and struggle would always make them a better version of themselves. Ed told Heng that he should not forget what he said. Our MC remembered this one, and it was about conquering the whole island. Ed's soul was glad as his advice was really implanted in this kid's mind. He really believed that Heng could survive this as he was strong and intelligent. The next day, our MC made a proper burial for his mentor. He paid his respects towards this NPC one last time. He was also now more determined to live up on Ed's expectations. Heng promised that he would surely conquer this island. After that, our MC started his new mission. Right now, he was planning to catch this bird. He tried jumping towards this animal, but he failed. The bird then flew away. Heng then sighed as this one escaped. He had been eating fish every day and he wanted something else for a change. And since he had no other choice, our MC was about to catch some fish again. But he stopped on his tracks as he saw something. Another set of NPCs showed up again. And they were still asking for some help. After that, a few days have passed by. Heng woke up as he heard a loud noise early in the morning. But this one smiled as he thought that it was really not a bad thing. Turns out, the NPC he saved last time has some skills on building a proper house. This one just smiled at Heng as he continued to hammer some woods. Our MC thought that this NPC was more reserved than Ed. On top of that, the new guy was also able to build a fence to house these chickens. Things are really going great right now. But Heng didn't stop thinking about this NPC ending up like Ed. Heng gathered himself again and thought that he will not let that thing happen again. He then equipped himself with a bow and arrow. He said that he would just catch some prey. After that, our MC was staring at this chicken again. He was planning to take his revenge. He closed his eyes as he recalled the things that his new little bro taught to him. Heng prepared his weapon and maintained this calm expression. And then, he let go of the arrow. His quest was successful and our MC was now running towards his little bro. Heng then asked this one why he was holding a spear. He turned his head around and was shocked by what he saw. A huge red snake appeared and this one was now eating the chickens that they were raising. This one was able to eat all of the chickens in one go. Heng was furious. He thought that he couldn't just let this one go, but his little bro stopped him. This one claimed that the scales of the snake were too tough. There's also no need to fight it because this predator was already full, but the snake didn't leave the place. Instead, it stared at these two. Heng asked his little bro if this snake was really full. His question was not answered as the little bro was already running away from this snake. Heng was left dumbfounded. These two opted to run towards their house. Luckily, they were able to go inside. They were still panting after that encounter. Heng still regrets losing the chickens they raised for a long time. Lil Bro then told our MC that the snake was too dangerous and they needed to get rid of it. This one smiled and agreed to his friend's plan. They really need to kill that snake. These two went back outside and did something for the snake. All of their strength went to this thing. They were now hoping that this plan would work. Little Bro shared this is from where he came. This was the method they use. Heng and this NPC apparently just built a trap for the snake. It consists of punji sticks. Our MC then recalled their battle plan before they could encounter the snake again. First, the snake would find the chicken that they prepared. Its smell should be enough to lure this one out, and then, hopefully, it will fall into the trap and get pierced into the hornet's nest. Heng started to imagine a bucket full of chicken after they got rid of this snake. Their plan was really perfect in theory, but it has been 5 days since and the snake was still not coming. Heng was just chilling while waiting for his little bro to bring some meat back. And while he was doing this, he heard a loud noise not far from there. This guy excitedly ran as he thought that the snake had already fallen on their trap. Our MC was also now wondering what kind of meal he could create using snake meat, but the smile on his face disappeared as he saw what was happening. Right now, his little bro was being entangled by this beast. Heng asked the NPC how he got caught. This guy then disclosed that his purpose for coming here was to inspect their trap, but he ended up falling into an ambush. Little bro then screamed for Zhang Heng to run. They have no chance of winning against this thing. The snake had already formulated its intent to devour him. Our MC was now thinking if he should follow that order. His body was already shaking in fear. He should now decide whether to help his little bro or run for his life. But then he remembered how he lost his previous mentor, Ed. That moment right there was the time when he decided not to run. Heng jumped up high and prepared his attack. He then threw the spear that he got. Armak was able to land a clean hit towards the snake. It also lost its control over little bro. This guy fell on the ground. Heng also equipped himself with the weapons that he had. He started to provoke and get the attention of the snake. The snake was still in a lot of pain because the arrow hit its eye, and since it was enraged, it then went after our MC. Little bro was able to watch this scene. He figured that Heng was planning something. Meanwhile, this guy still had this cheeky smile on his face. Right now, he was heading towards the chicken trap that they have built. The snake opened its huge mouth as it was already near Heng, and at the last second, our MC used all of his force to jump. This created some cracks all over the ground. The weight of the snake also contributed. Heng was really about to get bitten by this beast. Luckily, the ground collapsed. Our MC was able to grab at the very edge of this one, and with that, the snake was finally defeated. The spikes were proven to be really useful. This individual believed that he had made a wise choice by deliberately provoking the snake. Heng slowly tried to get up from the trap. He thought he needed to check the status of his little bro. He searched for a while and found that this NPC was already lying on the ground. Heng tried to wake him up, but it was no use. Little bro is a little dead now. With that, another grave was added. Our MC looked like he was about to collect more of it. He remembered that this was little bro's 20th day on the island, and that was when he figured something out. Both Ed and little bro died halfway through the whole cycle of this game, which was on their 20th day. Heng was now more confused. He thought that maybe the game was really trying to kill the NPCs that were supposedly helping the players. He then went to the shore again. Heng knew that if another NPC was about to show up, the same thing would happen. This guy then sighed as he thought that this was really a lost cause. He would not try to save anyone now. He would just focus on improving his archery skills. Days have passed and this guy really did some serious training. He lied down for a bit as he was really getting bored. He kept on repeating the same routine every single day. Heng smiled as he thought of something he could do for a change. This guy built a raft and was now heading towards the NPCs that needed some help. It weirded out this guy as our MC mentioned that they have met again, and instead of helping him out right away, Heng started to boast his new ability of shooting birds without even missing. Heng continued to chill on his raft while the guy was still in the water. He also extended an offer of his coconut water to this NPC. Our MC noted that in their past encounters, they had never really had the opportunity to converse. This one rejected the offer and asked if he could just get on the raft first, but his request was denied. Heng was already on his way back to the shore. He then thought to himself that he would surely save this NPC next time. Right now, he still has 200 days left before this game ends. Later that day, Heng hunted a deer in the forest. He celebrated because this was the first time he was about to try deer meat. He approached the deer and saw something. The plant that he needed to heal Ed back then was really present on this island. That meant that his theory about the NPCs dying on their 20th day was not accurate. All of the NPCs might have lived if he was just stronger and more attentive. Our MC then wondered if he could pass the test now. And while he was thinking about it, he heard a noise behind him. A leopard has shown itself from the bushes. This one looked at its surroundings first. It then approached the deer and started to eat it. Turns out, our MC was able to climb up to this tree and hide his presence. And while the leopard was now busy, he jumped right through it. This caught the beast off guard and Heng was able to pierce it. He then thought that he was just lucky today. He should have been more careful because there were more predators remaining on this island. Right now, he could take down a leopard on his own. Heng wondered if he was now more capable of saving the lives of the NPCs. This achievement was his proof that he was not the same weak Zhang Heng from before. Our MC then went back to the shore. It was on the 321st day when he decided to really save this NPC. This one introduced himself as Bale. Zhang Heng did the same and started telling him key information about this deserted island. These two both agreed that they have to do everything to survive, and in our MC's perspective, he would do anything just to keep Bale alive. This guy then changed the topic of their conversation. Bale felt like he was already familiar with Heng. This one laughed and told this NPC that maybe he was just being delusional. Later that night, these two proceeded to eat some roasted chicken. Bale was really glad as he got to eat some delicious food. He thought that our MC was really amazing. Meanwhile, this guy was still in deep thought. He started to think about how the other NPCs have died. He was now wondering what would happen to Bale. Bale then asked Heng why he wasn't eating some fish. The situation became increasingly odd as our MC simply continued to gaze at him. This guy told him that he was not hungry yet. But the truth is, he was busy thinking of ways to keep Bale safe. On the other hand, this one was really grateful towards our MC. He thought that Heng was really a nice person. The following day, Bale initiated his day by chopping wood, yet he sensed an air of peculiarity in the atmosphere. He figured that someone was watching over him. He turned his head around and found Heng. He still politely greeted him even though he was already bothered with this. Bale thought that something was really strange. He continued to experience this every single time. One time, he was just gathering ingredients. Even when he was sleeping, he felt like Heng was looking at him. Bale really lost his privacy. Our MC kept on doing this action over and over again, until the time that this NPC really needed to take a dump. Zhang Heng still appeared in front of him. These actions led Bale to believe that his rescuer held romantic interest in him. Later that night, Bale was really not feeling comfortable. This one headed out as he was already planning to leave. He can't take any of these anymore. A few seconds later, Heng woke up. Our MC immediately looked for Bale. He then counted the days that have passed since he saved that NPC. Heng knew that Bale was in trouble because today's the 20th day. He needed to find him quickly. Back to Bale, he was still wandering the forest. He also noticed that it was unusually quiet that night. He then saw a pair of red eyes staring at him. It was a leopard. This beast was already rushing towards this NPC. Bale was still in a state of panic. He was cornered by the leopard and thought that he was really done for. Meanwhile, Heng was still looking for him. This guy was really desperate. He didn't want to lose anyone again. He then heard screams asking for help. Turns out, Bale started to run away from this leopard. But since the beast was faster than him, it found an opportunity to pounce. This guy thought that this was his end. No one was coming to save him. Our MC then appeared in front of him. His bow was already prepared. Heng's shot was really spot on. It didn't hit Bale even though his position was really near towards the leopard. This one didn't expect Heng to save him. His savior also checked if Bale had some injuries with him. Our MC then finally explained why he was keeping an eye towards Bale. He told him the fate that his other comrades met. Bale got teary-eyed as he realized that Heng was just concerned about his safety. He then changed his impression towards our MC and promised to repay the debt that he owed him. Bale even offered himself as a payment. This statement left our MC dumbfounded. He then cleared his reputation. He told Bale that he was a straight man. After that, Heng left this NPC alone. He will now head back home. At that moment, Bale considered our MC as his reliable bro. Later that night, Heng applied some first aid remedy on Bale's injuries. He then advised him to take some rest as our MC will be roasting some fish to replenish their strength. This guy was really now confident in his roasting skills. He even thought that he could even be transmigrated into a culinary manhwa. Heng started removing the insides, gills, and scales. He then slashed crosses along the fish for better absorption of flavor. And to finish things off, he poured some salt like how Salt Bae would do it. After that, the fish was ready for some roasting. Doing this also made another notification to pop out. Heng thought that it has been a while since his skills have advanced. Our MC has already accumulated a lot of points from these achievements, but he still has no idea where to use them. Nonetheless, Heng was really feeling great. He thought that he should start exploring the deeper parts of the forest as soon as Bale recovered. Heng wondered what more he could find deep in the forest. He was really looking forward to it. The next day, Heng and Bale started their exploration. They were shocked as they saw a bunch of structures built in the middle of the forest. Heng even found out some traces of the previous human civilization from the items that were present. And while they were inspecting the items, they found out that there were no humans here now. The dust that was on the items proved this one. Bale then told his friend that they should still not let their guards down. There were a lot of predators around the forest, and after saying this statement, a paw landed onto his shoulder. Bale started running as he saw a leopard beside him, but he stopped as he realized that it was only Heng. Our MC found a leopard costume and wore it. This NPC then sighed as he almost had a heart attack from that. With that, these two decided to keep exploring. Bale made a statement that he would surely scare Heng back. After that, our MC then saw something. These two started to head near this platform that looked like it was for sacrificial rituals. Heng went over the pole and found a necklace. This guy took it as this item looked unique. The system then notified him that he just found a game item. It was a rabbit leg necklace. Our MC was glad to find this one. He wondered if this item would be useful in the future. He then turned his head around as he was about to show the necklace to Bale, but all he saw was the tail of a leopard. Heng immediately thought that it was Bale. He then shouted and scolded the NPC guy. Heng assumed that his friend was just getting back at him. This guy even tried pulling the tail to let his friend out of the bushes. But then, Bale appeared behind him and asked Heng what he was doing. Our MC wondered how his friend got there. He then questioned himself whose tail he was grabbing. Turns out, Heng was really holding the tail of a real beast. This situation quickly escalated as more leopards appeared. Our MC did a quick count and found out that there were now 4 of them. These leopards started walking towards these two. Bale asked his savior what they should do now. Heng found out that Bale went out for a while to take a leak. This was the only moment when our MC realized what he was doing the whole time. Bale then changed the mood and told his friend that there's surely a way out of this. He claimed that they just have to put all of their might to survive. Our MC sighed as he knew that they really have no other choice. These two then mustered their courage and challenged the leopards. These creatures began to slowly advance in their direction. After a few more moments, the leopards launched into a sprint, charging at Heng and Bale. The duo exchanged glances, as if communicating their next move silently. Heng readied his bow, while Bale sprinted towards one of the leopards. With surgical accuracy, Heng released his arrow. The arrow found its mark, hitting one leopard squarely in its right eye. Seizing the moment of distraction, Bale moved in to complete the takedown, utilizing his knife. This NPC made a precise slash. Their coordinated efforts successfully reduced their opposition to just 3 leopards. Realizing they were still outnumbered, Heng proposed they temporarily separate. For their subsequent moves, they would simply adapt to the situation. The pair then scattered in opposite directions. 1 leopard followed Heng while 2 pursued Bale. Heng took cover behind a small house, trying to conceal his presence as the leopard searched for him. The animal was clearly determined to locate its quarry. Meanwhile, Heng was bracing himself for his next move. His body tensed, knowing he had to eliminate this predator in a single strike. As he waited, the leopard surprisingly emerged from the opposite direction. Hearing its growl, Heng quickly turned his head, but it was too late. The leopard had already lunged at him. Left with no other options, Heng sought to parry the leopard's paws while also using the moment to inflict some damage. However, a complication arose as Heng's spear became lodged in the leopard's bone, making it impossible to pull out. At that moment, our main character realized he was in a dire situation. If his spear broke, his chances of defeating the animal would be slim. He decided to focus on causing additional damage. The leopard let out a roar as the spear sank further into its flesh. In retaliation, the animal bit down on Heng. He let out a scream of agony as the leopard's teeth sank deeper. After a tense few seconds, the beast's grip began to weaken. It turned out that Heng had managed to pierce its body effectively. The leopard finally lost consciousness. Heng's risky move had succeeded, but the cost was steep. Having been bitten, he knew he needed to staunch the bleeding immediately. He began to use the bandages he had on hand. Heng managed to administer first aid to himself. However, with his dwindling strength, he estimated that he could only fire 2 or 3 more arrows. Moreover, his spear had broken. Our main character was now contemplating strategies to salvage the situation. Just then, he heard Bale's voice. The NPC urged Heng to flee, as he was unable to shake off the leopards on his own. Heng sprinted in the direction of the voice, aware that he couldn't allow his friend to become leopard prey. Meanwhile, Bale had reached his breaking point and ceased running. He was gasping for air, and the leopards were gradually closing in on him.